Yeah. Hard. Yeah. Militant-minded general, nine-gripped, equipped with blades and a pen that can sharpen your spine's tip. Level-headed, though my mind flips from side to side. With an acrobat's experience, after I stick it, I'm luring down a demon-possessed Ahiye. Seems Jay's the best for the job with no code.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR Podcast, on the Roast Podcast. You are now live and direct with your boys, Cinko, Big Harv, and J-Bo himself on episode Deuce. That is right, episode 22 of Another Roast Podcast, KTR_podcast. My brothers, how are y'all doing today?
Doing great. Weather out here looking good, better than last episode.
Yeah, feeling like I've been here a while. You know, I'm feeling familiar.
Back like you never left. Before we get started this episode, please, y'all, do this one simple favor for us in the wrestling community. Go follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter and Instagram, Another Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Another Roast Podcast on all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. We are on everything. I'm glad I have that memorized in my head already. I ain't got to think about it because that just really just flows off the tongue. And hopefully this episode flows off the tongue because I am unprepared today, but we are going to get right through the show. Let's go. All right. This one is going to be near and dear to our co-host, Big Harv. This one, he I know he's going to be real passionate about this topic, and that's why we're going to get into it. We are on the road to WrestleMania. Yes, we are. The land of opportunities, the land of chances, the land where your career can go up or it can go down. But yes, we are here. And speaking of opportunities, wrestlers in the business sometimes get their shot, sometimes not. But opportunities it's a real generic broad word. It can mean anything, like, you know, just opportunity for TV time, opportunity for a title, opportunity to just showcase your abilities, whether it is in the ring or on the mic. We've had wrestlers in the past, and this is a great concept too. And we're mainly going to be speaking about WWE for just to let y'all know. We're the great concept that they brought into the fold of their brand is Raw Talk and what they do after Smack. They are talking smack. Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. And at first, you know, it really started off with, like, you know, with the main people on the roster, and now it's also starting to trickle down to, like, you know, other people on the roster just to give them opportunities and chance to speak their mind. And it has been working well for them to voice their opinions about how they feel with where they're at and what they're doing within the business. But do you believe that all of these wrestlers deserve the quote-unquote opportunity that they want, or what they deserve, is the real question. And the real question is, before we get into that topic, you know, and first of all, I just want to say this is all opinions. It's nothing against anybody. We're not telling where a wrestler should be at. They know more about the business than what we do, but we're just looking from the outside in. We'll never know how it looks from the inside out. But that being said, J-Bo, what is your definition of opportunity? Like, where do you feel that encompasses in the WWE?
So opportunity is as we mentioned, it's broad, extremely broad, and there's multiple ways to think of it. When I hear opportunity, I'm thinking of an opportunity to be in the main event scene, opportunity to have a storyline built into your character, opportunity to go after the big goal. Doesn't necessarily mean you win the big goal, but an opportunity to be developed into something where it garners great television time, great merchandising opportunity, promotion opportunity, things like that. Opportunity to be considered potentially one of the big dogs. I guess for me, it's broad, but to answer the general question, should everyone get an opportunity? Honestly, I say yes. The reason why is because you will never know what a wrestler can or cannot do without being given an opportunity. For example, if you look at The Miz, if you looked at him back when he was the SmackDown host and somebody were to tell you, hey, this guy's going to be one of the greatest heel WWE champions in our generation at that time, it would have been a joke at that point. But when they gave him the opportunity, he became something. I guess for me, I don't really think the importance should go on, should everyone get an opportunity? I think the importance needs to go on how many opportunities should an individual get. I think that's more important. I'll give you an example. And yes, Cinko, thank you for prefacing that this is all opinions, because this is an opinion, okay? Mm-hmm. Like if you look at Nakamura, for example, we all know what the guy can and has done. He's been great in New Japan. He's been great in NXT. When he came over to the WWE, he's been given an opportunity. He won the Rumble. He went to WrestleMania, main evented with AJ. Granted, it went disqualification, but he had 2 other championship opportunities and a well-built storyline into that. The crowd just wasn't into it. It just did not work out. Does that mean that I want to see Nakamura in another opportunity like that? No, because there's so many other guys and girls on the roster who hasn't been given that opportunity yet, where they should get that spotlight. Doesn't mean that Nakamura, won't get it later on to be a whole lot better. But I'm just saying he's an example of somebody who got an opportunity but didn't really care too much for. But then there's other examples like R-Truth, somebody who got an opportunity, took advantage of the opportunity, but he just wasn't giving it to him. Y'all remember when he fought John Cena at Capital Punishment? Yep. He had a great heel story. He had a great match with John Cena. He was really putting himself out there. The fans even bought into it, but he just wasn't given another opportunity after that. Should he get it? Yeah, because he developed into that opportunity role. So like I said, I don't think the question is, should everyone get an opportunity? I think everyone should, but I think we need to focus on, how many opportunities should a person get before they say, look, there's other guys on this roster. There's other girls on this roster. Let's see what they can do on the TV screen. Yeah.
All right, Big Harv.
I agree with the best things that I disagree with aesthetically, but I do agree with you. I feel like, yeah, there you go. Put that on the word calendar. Everybody should be given opportunity at least once. I agree also that those opportunities should be limited. What I think the biggest discrepancy is between if the crowd's not into it or Vince is not into it. We've talked about that a couple times as well. We have a lot of people, Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, just to name a couple. Hell, Kofi Kingston, we can even name. They're given opportunities taken away. Kofi had God knows how long title reign. 9 months was it? I don't know. Good
around 6.
6 months. Lost it. Never got another shot. Same thing if you look at earlier in his career when he was up for the title against Orton. They gave him that one chance. Something happened, screwed up. Never got a chance again up until the more recent chance. So he was given 2 chances, spanned almost 15 years, So it's a big discrepancy. Everybody knew he was ready, but WWE didn't think he was ready. I feel the same with Nakamura as far as him moving up to the main roster. He didn't connect with the crowds as he should have, or as he did in NXT, and they're more of the pure wrestling fans. Japan, of course, hometown, things like that. But I do think that he deserves more opportunity. I believe there are quite a few people who've been given opportunity years ago that should still be given opportunities, because we look at how many 10, 12, 14, 15-time champions they have now. There's no reason those numbers should be that high.
Yeah. No, that I agree.
Absolutely no reason anybody. I don't care. Ric Flair's is impressive because he held it across territories and across a span of 20 years. It's not as important when they playing like this. Was my issue with Bobby Lashley when we discussed last episode. They play hot potato title. Yeah, you have more title reigns, so when they announce it, you sound like a more impressive champion. But when you actually look at what that means, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Had 3, 4 title reigns, only one of them really mattered. Miz has had 2, neither one of them really mattered. He was used to put over other people, other storylines. So it's really weird how to nail down exactly what type of opportunity should be given to who. I do think that if you hire somebody, you hire them for a reason, give them a shot, sink or swim. You should really just let people go out there, sink or swim. When it comes to people like Nakamura, you got to let them do them and not try to micromanage. You can tell. Same with Keith Lee, micromanagement. You know, you tweaking every little thing they do. They're not really the person that wrestling fans fell in love with, and that's where that comes from. So with opportunity, you have to actually give opportunity, not just letting them go out and do what you told them to do. Let them go out there, find themselves as a wrestler connecting to this crowd, and let it go from there. Because Attitude Era, we go back to, most people went out there and winged it. They didn't go out there with a script. Even the ones with the trash gimmicks, like as much as I love Val Venus, his gimmick was trash. All right, porn star. But they just let him go out there with a microphone. Ain't nobody writing nothing for him to say. He went out there with a microphone. He connected with the crowd despite everything else going on. Godfather connected with the crowd, you know, organically. With that, they were given characters and they developed them themselves. So yes, give opportunity, but let the reins go. Let them do them. If they fail, sweep them up. You've done it before. You do that with people that you'll put a script in their hand and you don't like how they do it, so then you sweep them. As you know, if you can do that, then you can just let people go out there and do them.
Yeah, so I actually agree with the fact that you're letting them go and be them, and then giving them that opportunity within the aspect. The sad part about it though is that WWE, their mantra now, what they're known for now is here a script, follow this script. If you don't follow the script, that's it. The sad part of it as well is that people, we still tune in, we still watch anyway. So Vince is like, you know, I give you a script, and you're going to have to follow that. And if you don't, oh, well, I'm still going to have people who watch. Okay. So like, yep. and going back to the Nakamura thing, like I love Nakamura. I loved him ever since he came in when he was announced to fight Sami Zayn at one of the NXT TakeOver events. Like it was terrific. The problem, however, is that like with Nakamura, when I look at him, I know that he can do great things. That's why I preface where if he had another opportunity to be him, to be the guy who he fought off with AJ Styles at Wrestle Kingdom with, then I know that he can be something for not just for the Japanese fan base, but for the overall wrestling fan base. Right. But at the same time, the WWE, they are working off of all these guys. They're signing people every 5 minutes. And you got these people coming in who they know good and well you're going to get a script, and you're going to have to go off that script. And so, and that's what you have. So with Nakamura, I would love to see that in the future. But like you said, we got Keith Lee. I still haven't seen a real opportunity for him just yet. We can go down the line for all the other new and upcoming casters coming in as well. So I say give them an opportunity. If they can take a script and run with it, great. Roman Reigns, he could not do that with the face, but he's doing it terrifically with a heel character right now. So even though there are scripts, there are some people who can really take that brass ring with it and go for it. So with the opportunity aspect, hey, you got an opportunity. Here's a script. What can you do with it? This is the WWE. This is 2021. This is how we operate. What can you do with it?
That's a good point. It's a good point. They know what they're getting into when they get there. I agree.
Yeah. What about you, Cinko?
Yes, my turn. Opportunities. So whenever I saw that word, or why you doing that? I haven't even spoke yet. All right, so I like how both y'all broke the word down for me, because majority of the time when I hear people talk about opportunities, I think like my main focus is like thinking about people talking about opportunity for a title, the main title of anything, out of anybody, not like the mid card or the tag team, like to be the face of the business and the company. And that was my thing. In my mindset, does everybody in? Well, I'm see, like I said, opinion from outside in. Does everybody can everybody be a champion in that business? No. My personal opinion. And so that's why I always have my like, when I hear about people talking about opportunities, but like, talk about I'm just have like a chance here, shot, like opportunities in the ring or on the mic or just something like that, just to showcase what you can possibly do and just get your TV time, and it's in my opinion, it's only so much you can do. You know, like I said, Raw is only 3 hours and SmackDown is 2 hours. You have the current storylines going on. And at the end of the day, it's still a business. You know, WWE is not these independent circuits where you can just go off the whim and fly and say wherever the hell you want, cuss and do and this and that, because that's what majority of people are doing on the indie scenes, which would not fly on a mainstream billion-dollar business that got multiple contracts in negotiations and liability, trademark sponsorships with all these other businesses that will not fly. And so I get that. I get the reason why that the W has scripts, because it's like, okay, if something goes off the rails of something that's said by you, the wrestler is not at fault because it's the writers that have that. So it's like if anything happens, it's with them, unless you just go off script and just go ahead and win and just say something wrong, and that's on you. But like saying, it's just keeping the safe haven of like what can be said and what cannot be said on said product, because it is this big of a product that can go down in shambles if the wrong thing is said. That's all it takes. It's not how the day is not how it was back in the day where we saw all the God knows how much racist stuff and stuff going on. Like imagine we had a Kevin White coming out in today's WWE. Imagine if they had the whole thing with the quote unquote terrorist attack, where they had the Undertaker back then. Like, imagine stuff happened now. It would be shut down. Imagine somebody called somebody at the name at the wrong time. It'll be shut down. Imagine if when in the commentators, like with Jerry King Lawler, when he would like just do his like little quote unquote sneaky remarks about Booker T in his match, like say stuff about like him having like a nappy head and this and that, being a hood, like that would get shut down. So
I mean, Vince McMahon saying nigga backstage was scripted.
That's different. He's the only so unfortunately, like,
he owned the business, but it's still
he's the only person that can get away with that. That's a different story. So yeah, so it's not the same thing. So, but leading up to what I was saying before I got off topic with that. So in my mind, with the opportunity thing, it's fortunate and unfortunate, because in my mind, I see where they're coming from, because it's from a money standpoint. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If people love John Cena so much, have them keep winning. So I understand that. People love Drew McIntyre so much, keep them having winning. They love him so much and stuff like that. The people that have these multiple title reigns, like an Edge or Randy Orton, a Triple H, you know, stuff like that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know,
until it's broken, and then you out of people to use.
Is it broken in the standpoint financial, or is it broken in like the real mindsets of us that we're not satisfied no more?
It's not broken financially, because
that's the point.
Because they have other streams to make up for it. Like last episode again, brother from Marks and Mike said, they're not worried about views. All this, as far as opportunity to shine and to actually be on TV, making a name, making noise, really would translate in merch and in viewership. Nobody's moving needles on viewership anymore. Nobody. It don't even matter.
Viewership is made off of streams and everything on other sub platforms.
So financially, it doesn't really matter when it comes to opportunities, in my opinion. And that's exactly how they treated, especially during COVID. All these different people who wouldn't get opportunities, they've been given opportunities. So financially, I don't think that it's that big of a deal to them to give an opportunity at this point. I really just feel like it's micromanagement. It's way too micromanagement.
Okay, so I got a question for you.
Yep.
What wrestler would you like to see as world champion right now that hasn't won a world title?
That's gonna take some thinking. Big E. Big E will make a great champion.
J-Bo?
Keith Lee. Keith Lee.
Hey, y'all named some good ones I can't disagree with.
I mean, just imagine Keith Lee and his fun personality at like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Same thing with Big E. You know, if we're talking about a business, then okay, fine. Yeah, we can. You don't know what's actually going to be beneficial unless you give them an opportunity to be beneficial. Like right now, they're making money off of, you know, the whole Bray Wyatt thing for a while. They're making money off Randy Orton. They're making money off Roman Reigns. great. But like, if you give, I don't know, let's say Keith Lee a chance, and it doesn't have to be nothing long. It could be something short. But give them that opportunity. Well, maybe once the crowd come back, so you can get a real reaction. But like, give them that opportunity. Watch what happens. They don't know. They may have just struck gold. He probably just
assuming, yeah.
You're right. These are all assumptions that we're making, but you don't know. You don't know what cash cows that you really have. But you're going to keep milking out of these guys. Like you said, if they ain't broken, don't fix it. And, they got resources to do so. But if you want to talk about business, you can definitely take your business to a new level if you have these other assets that could potentially blow up. I have no idea. It's just like the stock market. It's all risky. No matter what, you probably got these 2 or 3 stocks that's probably bringing you in a lot of money. But you probably got this one stock in this watch company that may blow up. You don't know. You just got to invest into that. It don't got to be much, but just something, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what opportunity. Nothing's guaranteed. It's opportunity. It's just to see what happens. Yeah. That's the opportunity.
Yeah, I could definitely see Keith Lee and Big E. Those are 2 great examples of people that can and should be champion. And that's why we haven't seen Keith Lee on TV in a while. Man, it's WrestleMania coming up.
Yeah. All lost right there because they're not utilizing somebody like that could potentially be a face for the company if you're talking about business. Yeah. Who knows?
Anything else to touch on, Harv?
No, man. I mean, I think I've said everything.
We know how you feel about opportunity. You know how you like this, like certain people on TV, you want to see other people shine, Charlotte Flair. But yeah.
Even people that other people, it's people that I don't really care for that I feel like should actually get that, because you don't know what they're gonna do. They might actually do something that you'll enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess just example now, this Justice League is all over the place. Everybody hated Justice League. They had 2 hours of new footage and now everybody love it. That's the potential of what it could have been. They gave somebody else an opportunity at the same thing, and he did better than what the person that they gave it to originally did.
Mm-hmm.
Give him opportunity.
Yeah. Got a point there. Well,
I think to debunk that, all in your face. He was trying to come back.
I know. I was like, I can't right now. This conversation not going the way I expected it to go. I was ready to be argumentative like this. Like, damn, they're really making sense now. Why did y'all just do this in the group chat a while ago? Like, why did you do it then? Y'all just want to argue in the group chat. Just say I'm wrong and just say, oh, they deserve it. All like could just have normal, civilized conversation.
You never think you're wrong. You never think you're wrong.
I mean, that's different. I'm me. Of course, I'm not gonna think I'm wrong. All right, moving on. Next topic. This is a good one. Now, in our years, people that have Facebook, if you look in your memories, a bunch of old stuff pops up, of course, because it's your memories in your history, And with our history and our memories of Facebook, we have a lot of random posts that we make every now and then that involves wrestling. In one post we had that was brought up recently that Harv wanted to say for the show was about who is the greatest of all time in the WWE. I think he's about to go look for it. That's why he just went off the screen. Who is the greatest of all time? And we were about to argue on Facebook on it, but he said save for the podcast. Like, okay, cool. And we're saving it for the podcast. And wait, hold on, time out. Dang. Fast ain't about to come on. All right.
Right.
Anyway, the kickoff match going with Real and Mustafa Ali. But anyway, where'd Harv go? All right. So with that, greatest of all time in the wrestling business. Harv, who's your opinion? Who is the greatest of all time in WWE?
First of all, you didn't fully preface this situation. Right. John Cena. Not saying John Cena is the greatest. I'm finishing his half-done preface. The argument was about John Cena being the GOAT because he's won. He's the most winningest. I will say that man has probably had at least 100 championship matches defending and for the title, and that he is the single most winningest superstar in WWE history. All right, I don't think that's really debate. I can't think of anybody else that's won more, especially big matches, than John Cena. That to me does not give you the GOAT title. Does it put you into consideration? Absolutely. Are you on the Mount Rushmore? Absolutely. Should you be considered among the GOATs? Yes, but that does not make you the greatest wrestler of all time. Mostly because you couldn't wrestle until about the last 5 years.
Now I see where you're going with this. You're talking about just specifically off of just wrestling ability.
No. I'm not.
You said wrestler. Like you
let me because all wrestlers in sports entertainment, it's all together. Okay. I'm not saying sports entertainer because I'm not Vince McMahon. Wrestlers, professional wrestlers. For all professional wrestlers, they still had an entertainment aspect. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is the in-ring perspective is always overlooked when it comes to things like this. You hear Ric Flair's in the conversation for greatest of all time, but you never hear Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who could wrestle him under the damn table. Same with Macho Man Randy Savage. You don't hear him up there with Ric Flair when arguably he was just as good, if not better, than Ric Flair. So my thing is, it's not just the people who won the titles, who had the most title runs, who had the most wins, who we saw the most, that should be considered to be the greatest of all time. It should be more well-rounded. The criteria should be more than just titles and face time. Because I feel like there are more people out there who were there for a long enough time to be considered that, and that were good enough to be considered. That's where my argument's coming from.
All right, so you never answered the question though.
No, because we weren't on the question yet. We were on the pre.
No, we were on the question. I'm asking you, who's the greatest of all time?
Your half-done preface is what we were doing.
Okay, so now I'm asking questions.
Now ask the question, Cinko. What's your question, sir?
Who is the greatest of all time in the WWE?
Gosh, that's a hard one. Jeez. I would say it's got to be between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker.
Okay.
Got to be between those two.
And why?
The amount of time that they put in, and that the entire industry today was built on their backs. To me, is prolific enough to give them that title. They had charisma, so they had the entertainment aspect. They had the characters. They had evolution throughout their careers. They were able to stay relevant throughout 10, 20, 30 years each. Like the longevity, the skill set. They to me, they were total package. They had everything. So that's why I go with them.
Dang, we just missed something good on Fastlane. We did. Go ahead, J-Bo. I'm sorry, Harv, I got distracted. I'm over here doing social media. Like, man, we missed the pre-show. Yeah, okay. I don't see it, but yeah.
Then I won't be very long because this question...
This still part of our episode. We gotta speak still.
Well, the reason why I'm not going to be very long, because this question is extremely difficult, and no matter which way you put it, it can be placed into an opinionated category. So like, for example, with Harv, he has honestly near perfect answers with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. My issue, however, not really issue, my alternatives would be out of the Undertaker or The Rock. And I know a lot of people may disagree with The Rock. But let me tell you why The Rock.
Oh my God. This is real.
The Rock garnered crowd control in a way that's still being remembered till this day. He brought a certain, I don't want to say electric, but he brought a certain feel every time he came over to the microphone, every time he came over to the screen, and every time
electrifying so bad. I know.
Hey, I'm not. It's like every time he had a TV time, it was captivating, and it was natural for him. He came out there and he was able to just be the Brahma Bull every time and just leave, and the crowd ate it up. Like when I think of the greatest all time, I think of who the crowd was able to get invested into, whether they booed them, whether they cheered them. Like when they came out, what does the crowd get invested in? Because that's how people watch. That's how people buy merchandise. That's how people remember. That's how people grow up. That's why Shawn Michaels and Undertaker are nearly perfect. For me, though, I felt more of a connection with Undertaker and The Rock. Shawn Michaels is definitely one of my top four. Top four, definitely. But still, mine's either be between The Undertaker and The Rock, in my opinion.
And I agree with The Rock. Biggest issue I've always had with The Rock, because that's another discussion people like to have between The Rock and Stone Cold, is longevity. Rock was full-time in WWE for 6 years, for a total of 6 years. He transformed a lot. He ascended to the very top, and then he got out of Dodge, which you can't blame him for. But as far as anybody else that we would consider in that category, or to put in that category, I don't think there's anybody that was in the industry for 5-6 years that we would put there other than The Rock. So that's the only thing that's really bothered me about putting him there, is because we really don't. He excelled so fast and got so big so fast that we don't know exactly how far he would have gone. He could have got knocked back down. Like we've seen people go up to the top and then fall, So we really don't know. But he's probably the most prolific and definitely the most successful wrestler of all time. But that's really only ever been my gripe with The Rock. It's just the longevity thing. He wasn't there very.
So
completely.
It's basically the Bo Jackson of the WWE. That's what you're basically saying.
I mean, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, that's something right there for real.
Yeah,
because it's like, what could have happened if he stayed? So yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll never know. But with that being said, somebody did stay longer than him and has surpassed his title reigns.
Here we go.
And possibly his star status in the WWE. The man that has as many championships as Ric Flair, John Cena.
His star status, you think, is equal to that of The Rock?
In the WWE.
Okay. All right.
Not outside that. No, the Rock got the moves hands down. That's a fact.
Yeah, right.
Real. Rock has Rock does have the stuff outside of the movie. Yeah, because I was trying to think. No, John Cena got a little TV time here, there, but no, the Rock, Dwayne different.
Look, I think COVID messed up John Cena's movie career, because he had two highly successful movies that were like, the critics loved it. That Bumblebee movie.
Yep.
That Cock Blocker movie, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm.
But they both did really well in theaters, and he got a lot of praise for them. He had a lot more movies that he was signed on to do, but COVID knocked it off.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, eventually he might get up there. I do feel like he has potential.
He got potential, but it just ain't there. Dwayne different. Dwayne got a different personality. He moved different. He act different. So I'm gonna give that off to him with no outside of wrestling, but within wrestling, you gotta give it to John Cena, 16-time champ, because that career that he just had, it's memorable. It's like he's been headlining so many pay-per-views, WrestleManias for year after year after year after year consistently, and held it down for the WWE. Been carrying them with merchandise sales, carrying the business, and I said this before in one episode. It's like when he won the United States title at WrestleMania 20, and he was a United States champ for that period of time. He made the mid-card title bigger than the WWE title at that period, which is something that you don't see very often at all. You barely see it at any time. I don't remember one time where a mid-card title was bigger than the world title in ever.
Closest was Ultimate Warrior when he was IC title. That was
I'll give that one too, when he beat old dude. But yeah, well, like I said, John Cena, he's up there. When he started off with everything, when he was like deep into like that hip hop gimmick he was doing,
aggression.
It started real progression, but then it evolved from that. But like, it was like he was successful with that corny gimmick. It made it big for him. You know, it's like when people go off make bad gimmicks and make it great. Like when a New Day made that gimmick that they start off with and just made it evolve and turn to this. It's like, you know, it kind of went off the radar of what they were doing, but it worked. You know, that's what John Cena did. Like, you know, I could really see how like that rap gimmick was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be as big as it was, but it did, and he made the best of that. Where now to the fact now he could just be John Cena without a gimmick. It's just his name now, and with that, you know, just made it bigger and grew, and just look at where it now, 16-time champ.
Okay, so I know I see Harv, but Harv, before you go, let me air my grievances here. With John Cena, there you spoke a lot of truth on that one, and honestly, I'm not even going to rate it based on his wrestling abilities, because let's be honest, we all know that he has the 5 moves of doom, and he didn't unveil his 6th move until that one time in Saudi Arabia when he did some type of X punch and that one move with Elias. Okay, so I'm not even going to base it off of wrestling. I'm actually going to base it off, once again, on crowd perception. You're right, he had merchandise sales. Yes, he was in main events, but a lot of that was forced. It got to a point where the crowd said, we get it, he's the main event, all right, but there's other people in the main event. He could be face, he could be heel, great, and he can stay up there. I'm pretty sure the people will be fine. But it got to a point, I would say maybe a little bit more than halfway into his career, where the people was like, can we please get somebody else? But because of merchandise and all this stuff, John Cena just repeatedly get put back in those places. So he's not a 16-time world champion because the crowd wanted it. He was a 16-time world champion because it was just good for business. You know, that's all that was. So I can't say that he's one of the greatest of all time because it was simply good for business, because the fans, sadly, they're going to watch it regardless. So it's not best for the fans. It's not best for the long haul product. At the end of the day, it's just a business move. It's not really a wrestling move. It's not a WWE fan move. It's not any of that. So that's my only quarrel. It went against fan perception after a while. Just did.
Let me say this real quick for Harv to do his spiel real fast. I know you're gonna say something.
Cutting me off, bruh.
Yeah, I am. You can compare John Cena to LeBron James.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. Let me speak.
Let
me speak.
For his entire career.
You said what?
LeBron James was a skilled athlete for his entire.
Oh my God! See, now you're talking about abilities right now. I'm not talking about that. Get off the top of skill right now. Anyway, look. I could. You want to get muted? All right, cool. Like I said, John Cena is basically the LeBron James in the WWE, and I'm gonna just break it down real quick like this. And when it's like when somebody first comes out, correct? You know, in the beginning of John Cena's career, when he started winning titles at the beginning. No, J-Bo, look at me. So like I said, when he was he came out and was winning titles at the beginning, people were loving him and stuff like that, correct? You know?
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Exactly. Don't say you just like John Cena when he first came out, because I don't want to hear that lie, because you did.
I love John Cena.
I know I'm talking about Harv, but he can't speak right now because he muted. So yeah, it's the same thing with LeBron James. When he first came out, everybody loved him when he came out and everything.
Okay.
But when
would you please mute hard?
Nah, when LeBron started winning, people started to hate him more. Then it was that middle period. It was the same thing with John Cena. When he started winning more, people started hating him at the end. No, but then as time goes on and progresses, 20 years later down the road for LeBron, but not 20 years, man. I think 20 years. 20 years down the road, LeBron James now, when he won his last NBA title with the Lakers, it wasn't too much animosity at that time. People were like, okay, they understand, they like him again. It was the same feeling when John Cena won his 16th world title when he had a standing ovation for and everything, everybody put us out there like, damn, he really did it and loved him. And I was there when that happened because I was at the show in San Antonio when he faced off against AJ Styles at that Royal Rumble and won the title. I was there. Everybody loved it. Nobody booed him or anything like that. Everybody respected that win. And so that's really how it is. When people win too much, you're gonna hate them. It's just like that. I'm sorry. It's just natural, you know. It's just different for like just certain people because they didn't win as much. But if you got a man winning 16 times, of course you're gonna get mad because you want your favorite person to win. You want somebody new to win. It's just different. But you can't hate on what's great.
There's one major difference though.
Okay, I'll ask to unmute you now. Or sitting there. All right.
Yeah, let Harv speak because I think it's only fair if you let him speak.
You're right, because I didn't let him speak at all. Go ahead. He's having a migraine right now.
He's still muted.
I asked to unmute him, so yeah, I just think he just chooses not to be unmuted right now. There you go.
Said I'm gonna try not to curse because wilding right now. You know more about sports than I do, and you know that entire comparison was BS. Way too many other factors that you decided not to include. But since it'll take so long to unpack that, I'm gonna gloss over it and act like it didn't happen.
Cool.
John Cena got popular when he started cursing in his raps, or not even when he started cursing in his raps, when he allowed the crowd to curse in his raps for him. So once John Cena stopped doing that and started focusing more on the kids, the people that were his age or that were at that age that were cursing in the crowd, by that time they were older and they realized how crappy John Cena had gotten by pandering to children. John Cena was on for as long as he was because of children. Literally because it's PG, it's a publicly traded company, and because children bought his merch, and because families came as families dressed in different colored shirts with jorts, and you could get his entire wardrobe. You could buy that dude's whole stuff. That's why John Cena was on top. John Cena was on top because he had the white rapper gimmick. That's how we got there as a heel and then transitioning into a face. As J Bo said, after about 5 years of this dude winning as much as he did, people were tired of it. But kids were not tired of it. Why were kids not tired of it? Because he was put on as a superhero. That's what he looked like. John Cena will get destroyed for the entire match. 5 moves of doom. Win. He looks like a superhero to these children who want more of his stuff, more of his merch. They want to see more John Cena, even though everybody else is saying we don't want to see John Cena. And to your credit earlier, like you mentioned, we're going to watch it anyway. It doesn't matter. Especially because now you got people that love him and hate him. John Cena was a tweener, even though he was supposed to be a face, for a good 3-4 years before they actually started passing the torch to other people. I have always hated John Cena. Day one, okay? Don't you ever say that I didn't hate John Cena, all right? Also, the 16th win, people were happy about the 16th win because it was put on again as something monumental. Who else had won 16 championships? Ric Flair. Who else is as beloved and was on top for as many years as Ric Flair, though spanned across a bunch of different territories? It's Ric Flair. It was all associated with Ric Flair. Ric Flair was there for it to present it, all this extra crap. He was put as an equal of one of the biggest icons in the industry. So even if you hated him, you had to respect. I respected it. I mean, it's 16 title win. You should respect it. I don't mean I liked it. I hate the guy. It's pointless. He learned how to wrestle 5 years before he just started fading out. And I agree he should have faded out when he did. But by then the damage is done. Who do they have now? Who do they have that's as prolific as John Cena, or that will ever be as prolific as John Cena? Nobody, because everybody was in their 30s when they won the title, except for Orton. Orton's young. Orton was doing it before he would. Not all they have is Orton. He's now the gatekeeper, which John Cena never did. Really was his job before he left was to be a gatekeeper, was to pass the torch. He never passed the torch to anybody. Just like Hogan never passed the torch. detriment. He's a detriment to the main event scene. Is what it is.
J-Bo, you got anything to say?
No.
Because no.
Even the one thing I wasn't going to say, Harv elaborated a whole lot more than I could have. So
I had to stop. Because I know y'all we finna watch the show and I gotta go finish doing stuff. Look, I have a lot more to say. I can go on with John Cena for you.
We
Right?
know.
Don't like it.
We know.
Don't like it.
All right, like I said, well, the greatest of all time is still up for debate. But one thing that's not up for debate is the end of this show. Thank y'all for listening to episode 22 of Know the Ropes podcast. And so y'all should know, go to our social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Know the Ropes podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Know the Ropes podcast on all podcast platforms. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. We are on everything.
Everything.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. Please go subscribe. Please go share. Please leave a comment. Spread the word. Show some love. And don't forget to get your merch at ProWrestlingTees.com. Yes, go get that right now ASAP. This is episode 22. Deuce. And we are out.
what should they do? Big Harv.
Buy more shirts.
And
Pump those numbers.
thank you. There we go. Oh, yeah. Also, Retribution is over now. Good night, y'all.
Yeah. Numbers, letters, all symbols of man-made devices that could cripple us all. Improve we can K. Panicking when storm hits and knocks out the power grid. Are you fully prepared to live off the grid? How you think?